And we're back with a quick channel update because I've sort of been offline for the last couple of days. Well, no, not offline. My headset had a hardware problem and I couldn't record audio. Well, I could technically record audio, but only in bits and pieces without it getting cut out all the time. Turns out it was not the headset that was the problem in the end. It was actually the cable for the headset. It just, over years, I suppose, it kept getting bent back and forward, and eventually it just got wonky, which was why the audio was chopping in and out. On the bright side, I now have a spare headset, but only one cable for them, which is less fortunate. I mean, I kept my old PC just in case my PC died so I could keep recording, but I didn't keep a spare headset. That's very short-sighted on my part. Double bright side, I get to catch up on all that Amazon Prime stuff. Well, at least until the end of the month. I'm not getting dragged back into Amazon Prime subscriptions. Like, no, fool me once. There's quite a few things, though, I do want to cover in this update that I've been kind of putting on the long finger for a lot of updates, because normally I end up, there's a holiday update or something that comes in and messes everything around. First thing is, I want to make a change to how we rate games, or how we do the wheel of spinning. This all started because of Dream Engine's Nomad Cities. This is a decent game. It's not a great game, it's not a bad game, but it's like a decent, solid game. And what I've been doing so far is people give me a suggestion for a game, I look at the trailer, go, it looks pretty good. Yeah, why not? I think I need to get a little bit more picky, selective, elitist, snobby. I don't know. I think that the correct word is it eludes me right now. It's just a lot of you out there are supporting me, and I don't want to waste your time with stuff you're not interested in. I would prefer to present you with things we would both enjoy more. And picking stuff randomly out of a hat just doesn't seem very efficient or organized. So here's how we're going to rate games. Recent reviews gets points. All reviews gets points, depending on how good they are. Release date also gets a point. I mean, don't get me wrong, older games can be good, but newer games in general should score a little bit higher. Otherwise, something like, say, Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl would score really, really well. So you need to put in a little bit of a negative for the older games. And finally, the number of reviews a game has. I figure if a game's got a lot of reviews, that means a lot of people have bought it. Good or bad, it usually indicates something. This year was the result of, like, a bit of messing around and some minor bits of number crunching. Very simply, this is the point system that the ratings get. So if something gets overwhelmingly positive reviews, it gets a 10. And remember, it counts for recent reviews and all reviews. So a game in the past might have had overwhelmingly positive reviews, but then they made some patches and updates, and recently it might get mixed. So that way you get two ratings, one for the old rating overall and one for the newer one. Something like Oxygen Not Included has 10/10 on both. It's overwhelmingly positive. Then there is the year it was released. The more recent the year, if it's released in the current year, it gets 8 points. Well, at least for another month anyway. And then every year you go back, you lose a point until you hit 2015 where it bottoms out. Now, I do this, and I know this is going to be controversial because, well, newer games are going to get hurt in terms of review numbers, which is the next scale over here. If a game has 100,000 reviews, that means a lot of people have played it. Maybe they had a media hype train, maybe they had something, but it still counts for something. If something has only 1,000 reviews or less, it doesn't get any points, because if only 1,000 people have left reviews, that game probably didn't have a lot of popularity. There could be other things that hurt it, but we can't account for everything here. And then we just sort of did a scale up. This was very much just a by-field number system, and then I did up this list. I took some games that I knew were really good and fed them into the system, and some games that did surprisingly well and threw them into. Like Stacklands here scores 35. Compared to Rimworld or Oxygen Not Included, which come in at 40 and 41, that's actually incredibly high. Stacklands was that card game that did surprisingly well, even though I thought it wouldn't. But considering its rating, it actually did about right. It's a very popular game, it seems. Anyway, Factorio, all these games, I just rated them all. I think the worst rated one on here is Dream Engine's Nomad Cities, which came in at 18. It's not that it's a bad game, it's just a meh game? Yeah, but I think I should have maybe done something like this before. This down here, and I had to manually copy all these numbers over. It took a while, but this gives me an idea of all of these games. So let's sort them. Let's sort them and see what we got. The maximum score possible, 45. Factorio comes in at 42, which is... Okay, I need to point something out here. They released version 1 only a few years ago, but the game had been in early access for a long time before that. And when the game goes from early access to version 1, it gets its year of release reset. Little bit of a cheat there, but I'm not going to go through and try and haggle those things, so I just let it be the way they are. Whatever's on the Steam website is what they get. But it does mean we've got like Factorio up here, Oxygen Not Included, Dave the Diver. We'll come back to that one, but that's why we ended up playing that recently. Rimworld, Dyson Sphere Program. Kind of shocked Dyson Sphere Program was up this high. I gotta go back and give that a go. And Terraria. This is an amazing game. This literally got a perfect score except for the year. 10/10 for all recent reviews and all reviews, 17 because it got 100,000 reviews or more, 0 for the year, meaning 37. It will always be a 37. As long as its reviews don't change, it will never go below 37, which means anything below 37 can never be a perfect game. Before we remove all the games that have already been played, just to see how the wheel is going to shape out in the future, I'd like to point out Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice here. It's got a score 32. It's actually quite high, but it did terrible on the channel. That's because it's not the style of game that suits the channel. We're more your Factorios, Rimworlds, Oxygen included, Dyson's for a program. Not sure about Terraria. Frostpunk, I think, would fit right in. Kenshi, things like that. Those sort of games, I think, would fit the channel more, whereas run around hack and slash like Senua's Sacrifice, which is more of a console title, does not seem to work. So I need to come up with some sort of multiplier for games that would suit the channel versus games that wouldn't. All of that aside, that is why Dave the Diver got played recently. It scored incredibly highly, though it didn't do nearly so good with viewers because, well, that's not really the type of game we play. I put it on the list because someone suggested it, and I'm not unhappy I played it. It's a solid... it's a bit shallow. Wait, no, that's the wrong word. There's a large breadth of mechanics, but nothing too deep. I mean, you can pretty much ignore 90% of the mechanics and power through to the end of the game really quickly if you wanted to. Most of the side mechanics don't matter or count. So, actually, yeah, no, shallow sounds about right. Dave the Diver, yeah, no, you never mind, I just got the pun. Never mind, doesn't matter. Okay, so, Terraria seems to score very highly, and what I was thinking of doing was just grabbing, say, the top 15 games, sticking them on the wheel and spinning it, and then once one of them is removed, move in something from down below. Though I'm thinking there's going to have to be a culling going on here, and probably removing most of these bottom ones, like, yeah, even Colony got a 13. I don't think I want to inflict that on anyone. Like, all of these are on the list, and I think I should remove them on the grounds that I don't want to inflict them on people, because they might just not work. Some of these might be great games that just haven't hit their niche. Like, I remember Sunless Sea. For some reason, I think that's supposed to be a really good game, but it scored very low. It's got a 9.9 in reviews, which is like second best from the top. The problem is, it's been out a long time, and it doesn't have a lot of reviews on it, which is why it's only scoring a 22, which is abysmal. The only thing, like 18 was the Dream Engine Nomad Cities one, so this one I don't think would do so well. So I'm thinking, yeah, grab all the top level stuff, stick them onto the wheel for spinning. We're going to rip out Remnant 2 and Superliminal on the grounds that they're a puzzle game and FPS, and I don't think they would really work. Big Ambitions, I'm not really sure what that is, but you know what? It can stay. Anything that's got 30 points or higher is going to go on the list for now. And that's what it looks like. I still have a few things to finish, but let's just find out what's the next game we're playing while we're here. Hopefully it will be... We got Cosmoteer? Starship? Okay. Right. Well, that will be fun. I still have to start a Rimworld series before that, but in between like the Rimworld episodes, we'll be doing a little bit of Cosmoteer, it seems. Now for some questions and answers that keep piling up. No, I am not Scott Manley, nor am I related to Scott Manley in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even Scottish. He's Scottish, I believe. I'm Irish. I'm from Offaly, born and raised, though I did spend a couple of summers in Boston when I was younger. My old lad moved there for work, so I spent a couple of summers, and yeah, that messed with my accent a bit. So now I've got an accent that doesn't sound Irish to Irish people, and doesn't sound American to American people. Instead, I'm some weird crossbreed in the middle, but at least both sides can kind of understand me. Most of the time. And remember, if you've just robbed something and you think you may have clicked somewhere else, hit the OR key. The OR key stops you moving. So it turns out a few people don't know if I'm saying or. I mean, it seems fairly obvious to me, but, you know, I'm a... Okay, just, okay, comments. When it comes to comments, I see a lot of people dropping comments just for engagement and stuff like that. And it's like, I wouldn't worry too much about dropping comments for engagement. That really only matters for those people who are all pushing comments and engagement and likes and all that stuff. They're doing videos that are one-off hits. They're looking for viral stuff. So think of Tom Scott, Mark Rober, people who do videos where there's no consistent theme in each one, so you kind of never know what you're going to get next with them, so they need that to sort of drive the video and push it for viral stuff. A lot of suggestions you see online to improve your videos is like, look for more comments, look for more likes, all that stuff, and from what I can see, it does nothing. Like if you have, like, I would have naming things on some of my videos where we'd be naming pawns and I'd be looking for suggestions in the comments. I could have twice as many comments on a video as the previous one, but no more views. The way it seems to work out is gaming channels, you're sort of confined to a bracket. By somewhere around episode 10, give or take, it's different for every series, but somewhere around episode 10, you're going to cap out on the amount of people that are left at episode 10 will usually be there by episode 20 or 30. There'll still be a slow, gradual drop-off, but there's a massive drop-off between episode 1 and episode 10. Lots of people tune into episode 1, namely because they want to see the start of the new series, but also a lot of people watch just to learn how to play the game. So you're going to put a lot of views on that first video, but by the time you get to 3 or 4, massive drop-off, and by the time you get to 10, that's where the people are that are going to be around for the long haul. Extra comments and stuff like that don't help because the YouTube algorithm is not going to push them anymore. So don't feel like you're obliged to just stick in pointless comments. Hey, if you want to make a happy comment, go for it, or you want to make a comment of some sort, that's fine, but don't feel like you're obliged to put stuff in just to help drive engagement. It's much of a muchness as far as I can tell. I'm now feeling really dumb because I think I'm a YouTuber that just suggested people shouldn't make comments. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's just, okay, you know what? It's fine. Let's just move along. The next one is, if you make a game, include a goddamn press kit, for the love of God. You see, if you want to make a thumbnail for a game, you would prefer if it didn't look janky as all hell. So, for example, we've got the spaced out DLC here, press assets, and, here we go. These things over here, let's say, would be, give us oxygen included, spaced out, oxygen not included, spaced out. We can take these and use these to make thumbnails, which is quite nice. They even throw in some screenshots, but you're never going to use those. In fact, Rimworld, they're the first ones that I really discovered it on, and they were incredibly good. For example, here is like, if you want just thumbnails of, Randy, or Phoebe, or Cassandra, or whoever. In fact, they've got hero art of just about everyone. So let's just have a quick look at royalty here. There's all the thumbnails you could ever want, or the text. This allows you to do things like go in here and go, oh, see this Rimworld ideology? I didn't have to go onto a picture and painstakingly, cut around the rest of the picture to remove this to put into a thumbnail. I've had to do that with some games. Now I just, no. Like, press kit. Find me a press kit. Really, just put a press kit on your game. Make it easily Googleable. Make it findable. Just otherwise, it's a pain in the butt putting together thumbnails sometimes. So Rimworld Biotech, yep, that came straight off their site. This is, the original Rimworld one up here. This one came off their site as well. Otherwise, you got to cut these things out. I feel like every game should do this, but I don't think every game does. It seems so obvious. This program is called GIMP. If you want to make thumbnails, this is probably the easiest way to go about it. And looking up the press kits of all your games, most of them, not all of them, will at least have something in there that you can use to put together a thumbnail that doesn't look completely horrifying. But again, if you're making a game, always release a press kit. It'll promote your game just to every YouTuber who ever makes content with it. One quick comment on Senua's Sacrifice. It managed to demonetize itself because the end song in the credits for that game, or whatever the song kicks in at the end, yeah, it turns out that's copyrighted, so yeah, good luck. Most games don't have copyrighted music included in them, but I can imagine this would cause problems if you were trying to stream that game. I didn't mind it. Not a lot of people watched the few episodes you put out on that, but still, felt kind of janky on their part. Well, funny facts aside, let's go on to my biggest, stupidest, dumbest mistake. I'm pretty sure I've covered this before, but I'm going to cover it again until I stop seeing the poor Reddit posts from people who got caught out by my stupidity. A long time ago, I think it's about 4 years ago now maybe, I designed a petroleum boiler in oxygen not included, and I wanted to make the perfect one that could run on any volcano. No matter how minor the volcano and how weak the output, it would still work. Fortunately, I pushed the envelope just a little bit too much, and it turns out it causes pressure damage at this tile right here occasionally. Also, we could do some changes and upgrades to... No, we're not here to do that. We're here to point out the stupidity. Okay. So what happens is, crude oil falls down here. Crude oil collects there. Then it gets flashed to petroleum. Any new heat is injected to keep doing that again and again and again. However, when the igneous rock starts to get too cold, what happens is the crude oil builds up. And the igneous rock won't get flushed out because the temperature is at 435, and it keeps... This is dragging out just a little bit of heat at a time, but not enough to flash the crude oil to petroleum. The crude oil builds up, then eventually this gets cold enough, it gets cycled out, and fresh magma is chucked in. And when the fresh magma is chucked in, well, then we got lots of heat, and instantly all of this crude oil flashes to petroleum. Crude oil takes up less space than petroleum, which means you end up with too much petroleum in this spot, and it causes pressure damage to this tile. When pressure damage happens, a little bit of the petroleum forces its way through here and falls on some boiling hot magma. This whole thing fills with steam and it causes massive problems. And all that it takes to fix this problem is increasing the temperature here to about 440 degrees, and you'll never ever have that problem. And the only reason it's at to 435 is we were trying to squeeze the maximum amount of efficiency out of it, And in testing, it didn't cause any problems for me. I ran it for hundreds of cycles, it was grand. But given certain scenarios, how hot the crude oil is coming in, if your crude oil is not 90C or 85, I think was what I did with the initial testing on, you can have problems. So people with slightly colder crude oil are getting pressure damage here, and it's a mystery to most people. And it's all my bloody fault because I didn't catch it in testing. And this has spread like a little bit of a, okay, not a plague, but it's definitely one of those annoying things where I'll see a post on Reddit occasionally, like, oh, damn it, there it is again. So, if you were in the Oxygen Not Included Reddit and you see someone having pressure damage on their petroleum boiler right here, just tell them, change the temperature, crank it up to 440 right here, should fix their problems. One little fun story about Dave the Diver. Turns out, when you watch a game all about sushi and how amazing sushi is, even if you don't like fish, and you're not a fan of sushi because, you know, it's all fish, you'll still go out and try sushi. And you'll be like, yeah, no, I still don't like fish or sushi. But your girlfriend will be absolutely ecstatic because she loves sushi and she never gets to go and get enough sushi as she would like because, you know, you don't like sushi and she wants to be nice. That smile of hers didn't fade for hours. Oh my god, she enjoyed that stuff so much. I don't get it. It's raw meat. Well, raw fish, whatever. But it's still raw. What the hell? Tomorrow, I'm gonna do a sort of a finish for that Factorio playthrough I started a bajillion years ago. It's more a case of I've got my old base and I managed to get it working by reverting some stuff. But anyway, I can at least explain and show you how it works and why it's fun but also stupid. Well, that's the plan. Friday, I'm going to do a sort of a love-hate piece on Dave the Diver, which I ended up playing too much of because I had some free time due to some hardware outages. It's going to be sort of like a combination of a review and a tutorial, but, you know, like a Reviewtorial, I suppose. For Monday next week, I want to do Rimworld, and for the mod list, I was thinking of a game I saw a trailer for once, Tactical Breach Wizards. The idea is it's basically a SWAT team, but they're SWAT wizards. So try and imagine someone in full SWAT gear, but with a magic wand. Or imagine someone in full wizard gear, but with an M4 assault rifle. It's sort of that type of scenario. So I want to try and replicate that just a little bit in Rimworld. So I'm thinking Rimworld of Magic is a good mod. Very popular, and it should add in a bunch of magic casters. But I need to get some high-tech stuff in there. I want, like, our wizards to be equipped with laser rifles and plasma cannons and stuff like that. So if anyone's got any good suggestions like that, or maybe robots or androids, I'm not sure. Just give me a few suggestions in the comments, and I'll come up with something by Monday that hopefully doesn't redline the computer, but no promises. Apologies for the lack of videos the last couple of days. I will set about trying to find some sort of replacement cable. Finding a replacement cable for these things is a pain in the butt. As far as I can see, it's probably just easier to buy a whole new headset, but I need to find a replacement cable so that I have two headsets and two cables just in case this sort of thing ever happens again in the future. I don't like to get caught by the same problem twice. That just feels like stupidity. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope my explanation of the difference between or and or was not too confusing, and good luck.